Here it is. I've been wet. Okay, the box was empty. I just recently purchased the Canon R5. I've been doing a lot of research the last year since it came out, going back and forth. Is it the right camera for me? Is it not? Is the overheating an issue? I shoot both video and photo, but video a little bit more, and it's good, it's bad. I don't know. The internet, you're driving me crazy. So I decided to figure out for myself, I think this is the right camera for me, so I ordered it, and that's what we're gonna do today. This is not going to be a scientific test by any means. This is truly just a vlog with test footage, you know, me testing out this camera. Is it good? I think it is. You know, I don't know if it's because of the pandemic still, or like people are out of work, or maybe there's just more people with work at home schedules now with those flexibility to go. What I'm trying to say is, like, every place I go, like the parks and everything, like they're like crazy busy. Like, it's Wednesday. See, and as I spoke, I just about got hit by a car because it was like driving down this road that normally never has vehicles on it. It's supposed to rain in a little bit, but it doesn't look like it's coming, so we're gonna hang out as long as we can. I've been shooting for about an hour now in all the different modes that tend to overheat. 4K HQ, which you're watching right now, 120 frames per second, 60 frames per second. I've had the camera on for about an hour now, switching between all those modes. I haven't been recording the whole time, but the camera has been on the whole time. And I've not ran into any issues. Now, I'm not saying that those overheating issues don't exist. I'm just saying I haven't ran into them with, you know, my workflow and the way that I work and shoot, things like that. It's not crazy hot. It is summer, but it's in the 70s right now outside, so it is a pretty nice day. But yeah, that's just my observations right now. Have not had any issues with overheating, not even a warning. So, I mean, that's good. That's good. I don't want to have problems, right? So that's good. Okay, new day. Looking at the footage already, I like how it looks, but I think we need to change it up. I got a lot of trees and a lot of birds. So we're in our downtown area now. See if we can change it up a little bit. Today, though, it is 85 degrees, and according to the weather app, it feels like 95. So this should be an interesting test for the camera as well. So let's see what we can get. Okay, we made it back in. It's a lot cooler in here. So just final thoughts on the overheating, and then I'll talk about the camera a little bit more in general here in just a minute. Overheating was not an issue for me at all. Like I said, I took this outside 2 different days. One day the temperature was about 75 degrees, and then the other day the temperature was about 90 degrees. Both days I shot for about an hour, switching between 4K HQ, 4K 60, 4K 120, and did not even get an overheating warning. On that hotter day, the 90-degree day, I did feel like the camera was a little bit warm in my hand, but again, no warnings or anything, and it did not disrupt the style in which I shoot. So overheating isn't an issue for me. And yeah, 8K, I didn't even shoot in 8K because this camera does shoot 8K, but I have no need for that in my personal workflow. So a quick rundown on how I ended up with the R5. My first camera was the Panasonic GH5, and I love this camera. I loved everything about it, except for the fact that the autofocus in this camera was not reliable. So I needed a camera that had reliable autofocus. So I used this camera for about a year and a half, and then I made a shift to Canon for the first time, and I got the Canon EOS R, the first RF camera that they released. And this camera filled that need of needing reliable autofocus. However, I missed a lot of the things that the GH5 had. The IBIS, the no crop in 4K. I thought the image quality out of the GH5 for video was just a little bit better. I think the EOS R doing the line skipping sensor readout Anyways, I thought the image was a little bit crisper and cleaner out of the GH5, so I missed that as well. So then when the R5 came around, I felt like it had everything the GH5 had and the R in one camera. So I had IBIS. I didn't have to have that crop in 4K anymore. I have 10-bit 422 color, which makes color grading a lot easier. And I have the reliable autofocus, and I also have a really good stills camera. That's why I went with the R5, and I'm happy with the decision. The images that come out of here look really great. Even the non-HQ 4K looks a lot better than the 4K that was coming out of the EOS R, I think. So even if you're worried about the 4K HQ overheating if you're doing long form content, I still think the 4K non-HQ is a step up from the R, and it's still on par with the GH5. It's nice and crisp still, especially in those small details. One thing that I noticed with the R, if you're doing a shot like this where I'm close, I'm filling the frame, it looked great. The R really struggled when you were filming lots of little details, whether it was a landscape or just maybe you're filming a sporting event, you have the whole field in frame and you just have smaller subjects running around. I felt like that's when the camera really struggled with that line skipping sensor readout where the image just kind of, in my opinion, fell apart. Again, I feel like the R5, even in the non-HQ, the image looks a lot better. You get those details back. One thing I'm not a huge fan of is this camera the R5 does 8-bit and 10-bit color. However, it never tells you in the camera if you're in 8-bit or 10-bit. You just need to know that if you're in C-Log, you're recording in 10-bit color, and if you're not in C-Log, you're in 8-bit color. And that's one thing that the GH5 had that this doesn't. I wish, one, it would tell you for sure so you're not just assuming you're in 8-bit versus 10-bit. And then two, I wish you could choose, even if you're not in C-Log, I wish you could still choose 8-bit or 10-bit. Because there's some instances where maybe you don't want to record in C-Log, but you still want to have that extra color flexibility with 10-bit color. So it would be nice if you could still choose 8 or 10-bit color without being in C-Log, if that makes sense. That's probably my main little quirk about this camera that I'm not super huge fan of. But other than that, it's the right camera for me right now. Fits my needs, takes amazing photos, takes amazing video, and I'm super happy with it. If you made it this far, hey, thanks so much for watching. Hope you're having a great summer, and yeah, I'll see you soon.